Hi. This is Vic with Vic Video Studio, and in this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate some masking techniques, so you'll be able to create something like this. I tried to cut unnecessary screen recording, just to keep this video as short as possible, but even so, this ended up to be kind of a long tutorial. Please watch until the end to discover very interesting and valuable tips on how to adjust some settings you might didn't know before. So let's not waste any more time, and I'll start by adding a text element. And I will type in the first word out of 3. I will make it bigger and place it in the center. Now, I will duplicate twice, and I'm going to rename all 3 text elements. Right now, I only need to work on one text element. So, I will select these 2 and set them aside for the moment. Next, I will bring in a rectangle. I will rename this one as bar 1. And I will make another 3 copies. I will rename these as well. I just renamed them as bar 1, bar bottom, bar top, and bar 2. You will understand why I need all those 4 rectangle elements in a few moments. I will drag bar 2 here to the right, and the top and bottom bars I will place them right here. This is only temporary, just to have them aside while I'm working on this bar 1 element. Now, I will make this to look more like a bar, like a line actually. To make your work easier, you can go to Settings, and unlock the X and Y scale axis, and insert your desired values, to obtain a long line like so. I want this line to pierce right through the middle of the word, so I will zoom in to position this line horizontally centered with this word. Please notice that this first line has the Y value of 2. This is the first line that appears at the very beginning of the animation. At the point where the line reached to a stop, the following top and bottom line will take over. That is why the top and bottom lines together, side by side, will sum up the value of 2. That means each of them will have the Y value of just 1. So, I'll fill in the same X value, while in the Y value box I'll set 1. I will do the same for the bottom one as well. For a better adjustment and position, I will quickly set a yellow color for both of these lines. This is only temporary. And now, I zoom in, and I will position these 2 yellow lines, one facing the other, on top of the first line, and together side by side will make the width of the first line. Next, I'll go to the last rectangle element, and I will set the X and Y values just as I did for the first line. I will leave these lines as they are for now, and I will go and duplicate this word, and make one more copy. I am typing the second word that will be shown on my animation, and I will make it red. I'll place it here on a side. Now, getting back to those lines. This first line that will show up, I want it to pierce the Vic word, and for that I will add a custom animation. I will set a scale property, and for easing I will set both and choose Expo. But before I go further with the animation settings, I need to change the rotation point, right here on the middle left. And now, I will just set the X scale value at 0, for the starting point of this line animation. You can see here in close-up, that the line is scaling from the left to right, due to the rotation point that I have just set to the middle left. I will trim the duration of this first line, just to fit its custom animation. I will bring the next 2 lines right here. And I will go down to the first word, and trim that as well. I will bring these 2 text elements closer. Again, before starting, I will set the rotation point for this top bar, here on the lower right corner. And now, I will goon and animate the next 2 lines, the top bar and the bottom bar. I will add a custom animation. This time I will set 2 animation properties, scale and rotation, and the easing will be the same, set for both an Expo. I move the playhead over the added animation. I will grab the element's handle, and I will rotate to have it vertically like so. And I will change the X scale value at 50. For the bottom bar, I will set the same custom animation, But before going further, I will change the rotation point for this one to the upper right corner. And again, placing the playhead over, I will rotate down like so. Set the X scale value at 50. I go back at the top bar. And I will add another custom animation. For this one I will only choose scale. And for easing the same, both and expo. You notice that my line jumped on another position. During the easing settings, sometimes it happens for an element to jump on a different position. In my experience, I've learned that this is happening when for a certain shape, I have the rotation point modified from its original. But don't worry, you can easily fix this just by going back to see the X and Y position values and just type them back in to reset the position. Now that I have its position fixed, I will scale this down at 20. Now that this top bar is animating perfectly, I will go and animate the bottom bar as well. I will add the second custom animation. I will set scale. And again. For easing, expo. And, notice that here too, I have the same situation. The line from the canvas jumped on a different position. Placing the playhead right between the two added animations, I can see, in the settings panel, the X and Y position values. I will keep those in mind. I will move the playhead over to the right. And I will set the same values, for X and Y, to have it back to its place. And now, that I've fixed that one as well, I will set the scale value at 20. It is always recommended, to make sure you don't forget, to set back these added animations to their positions. What I also like to do, is to fully extend the timeline, and make sure I have all the custom animations, set with the same time length here on the timeline. And I strongly recommend you to do the same. These fine adjustments make the difference for an outstanding animation. Now that I have these two lines animated, I will go and change back their color to white. And, let's have a look. Remember that I have added 3 text elements for the Vic word. The first one at the bottom of the timeline is the one that instantly appears at the very beginning, and the first line is piercing it. The next 2 text elements for Vic word I will need to break the word in 2 parts, and I will show you what I mean in the following moments. I will add a rectangle from the Shapes menu. I will bring it down here. I will use this to mask the upper half of the word, so I will rename it as a mask. I will duplicate this rectangle, as I will need another mask for the bottom half of the word as well. Next, I will change their color to this light red, and I will reduce the opacity to about 50%, to be able to see through. Let's resize this rectangle and make it longer, about the same length as the white lines. I am dragging this one on a side for the moment. And I will move up the rectangle, to align its bottom side horizontally with the middle of the word. Before I start animating this rectangle, I will change the rotation point to the lower right corner. And now I can add a custom animation. I will select only rotation. And for easing I'll set both. And I will choose expo again. Placing the playhead over the animation, I will grab the dot handle, and I will rotate to the right, like so. And now, I will mask the word with this rectangle that I just animated. Please remember, you can either animate the rectangle before assigning it as a mask for the text element, either after the masking. I will bring in position the other rectangle. I will make it about the same size as the previous one, but I will drag this one down, to have the upper side aligned horizontally with the middle of the word. I will zoom in, and make sure I am aligning it right between the 2 white lines. Next, I'll add the custom animation. I will select the same properties and easing as for the previous one. And, I must not forget to change the rotation point to the upper right corner. Now, I can move the playhead over the animation. and I will rotate the rectangle to the left, downwards. Now, I can go on and mask the word with this rectangle that I just animated. For those of you who find it difficult to understand the masking and the masking animations I just did for Vic Text Top and Vic Text Bottom words, I have separately recorded this explanatory part of the video. Those of you who fully understand the masking process I just did, go ahead and skip this part where I explain how this masking works. I already have the two text elements already masked and with their custom animations added. You can see that here, I have the mask that only covers the bottom half of the text. And up here I have the mask that covers the top half of the text. That means that the bottom text element will only have visible on the canvas its bottom half, that resides within the boundaries of the mask in a shape of a rectangle. As I said, I have two text elements, and if I turn off the visibility of this text on the top, you can only see the bottom half of the other text element. If I switch, and I turn the visibility back on, and I turn it off for the one at the bottom, you can see that only the upper one is visible for its upper half side. Let me show you how it works, after a custom animation is added. If I move the playhead slowly, you can see that the mask is rotating to the right. When I bring it back, text it's being revealed. Once again, and please notice that the mask is animated, and rotates to the right. And the word is still there on its own position and doesn't move, right here in the center of the canvas. If I bring back the mask to its starting position, you can see the text is there. The same happens for the text on the bottom. I am selecting the bottom mask now, just to show you how the mask rotates on the bottom. Same here, the text is not moving from its position. Remember that for the text I did not add any animation. Let's turn on the visibility for both text elements, and see the effect. Now, let's get back and continue with the main tutorial. So let's refresh our memory where we left it, with a short preview. Now, I will bring this video text element right here. And, what I see is that the white lines shouldn't be on the red text. I will go here on the timeline, and having the bar 1 selected, I go to Settings, and I will increase the X scale value at 105. I will make sure it is centered with the word. Next, I will set the same X scale value for the other two lines, making sure I reposition them as they were. Now, you can see that because I made the white lines longer, when they open and the red text appears, the white lines no longer cut the red text on the right side. The red text, the video word, needs to be revealed in the same manner as the Vic word disappears. For that, I will need to create two black rectangles that will have an effect like a mask does. Let's add a rectangle and you will understand in a few moments what that means. I will bring this rectangle down here on the timeline and place it just above the video element. I will duplicate, because I will need two masks just like I did for the Vic word. And let's rename these two rectangles. I am make it bigger to fit the word, and I will reduce the opacity to about half, so I can see through while I do the positioning. I do the same for the second rectangle. Make it bigger to fit the word as well. And now I move the top mask to the top half of the video word. And the bottom mask to fit the bottom half of the same word. And, this is how they look side by side over the text element. Next, I will go to Settings and make this one black. I will also make black the one above. and I will bring back the opacity all the way up, for both rectangles. Remember that these two black rectangles are one layer above the red text, so the red text is behind them. And because the white text and the white lines are on layers above, they are visible. You can't tell where the rectangles are, because I made them black on purpose, the same color with the background, and therefore there is no need to do mask with action. Next step will be to animate these black rectangles to open up and down, in the same time with the two white lines that break apart. So, for the added custom animation, I will set rotation and for easing both, and select Expo. I also need to change again the rotation point. So, for this rectangle on the top, I will set the rotation point to the lower right corner. And then, moving the playhead over to the right, I am rotating the rectangle upwards like so. And, you can already see that the upper half of the red text is visible. Next, I will do exact the same custom animation for the black rectangle on the bottom side. I'll bring this animation to the very beginning of the element, and making sure I have the playhead at the starting point, I will change the rotation point of this rectangle to the upper right corner. And now, to set its end position in this animation, I will move the playhead over to the right, and I will rotate the rectangle downwards. And you can see now that the entire video word is revealed. I will trim the time length of the black rectangle to fit its own animation. I will fully extend the timeline to get a better precision of doing that. I will do the same for the other black rectangle as well. And, let's have a preview. I will drag the playhead slowly to the right, just to see how everything works together. Wow, stop right here. You can see that they are offset. It seems something is not right. I need to expand all the layers on the timeline, and check all the animations to see if they have the same time duration. I even extend the timeline for a better precision. And you can see that on the mask of Vic text bottom, I have this animation, and it is offset. I'll bring it in line with the others, and everything else looks right. And now, let's try again slowly. It looks a little bit better, but I'm still not happy with this animation. You can see right here that the lines are not perfect on the same opening with the letter C. I will expand all the layers on the timeline again. And let's do another check for all the custom animations. Their time duration seems to be all the same. Now, I will also go and check the easing settings for all the elements here on the timeline. I am showing you this because it is important to understand where we can go wrong and what we need to check in order to create the best and smoothest animations. Well, if I grab the playhead again and drag it to the right, you can see the problem is still there. So, I excluded the time duration and the easing of the animations to be the problem that causes this offset. Another place to check would be the long sides of the white lines. Remember that I have changed their X scale value from 90 to 105. If I go here to this text element, Vic text top, and I'll expand it and I click on its mask, we can see that its scale no longer matches the one from the white lines. So, I will change the scale value of this mask at 105, and I will reposition it to match the white lines. I will go to the next text element on the timeline, and I will also modify its scale at 105. And I will drag it to match the white lines. It is very important to pay attention to elements that animate together. For example, the white lines and the Vic text masks which animate in the same time. To create that scissors effect, you need to make sure to have their sides matching the same scale size. If I drag the playhead slowly again, you can see now that it looks much better. You can see right here, if I just stop for a moment, that they are perfectly opening in the same time. Moving forward with animating, I will grab the playhead, and I will position it right here. where the two lines get in vertical position, and scale down. I will bring here this line element that I named bar 2. I will rotate to have it on vertical. I will temporarily change its color to yellow, and I will set its X scale value at 40 to match those two lines together. Now, let's bring that yellow line here to the right, and zoom in to perfectly align it on top of the white lines below. And now, that I have positioned it exactly in the same place, it can take over from the two lines, and further animate as one single line. So, I just made it white again. I will trim the time duration of the top bar, just to fit the time length of its custom animation. Let's animate this bar 2 line. I will add a custom animation. This will be position. And for easing, I will select sign and set for both. Moving the playhead on the other side of the animation, I will move this line here to the right, and it seems I forgot to trim the bar bottom. So I will trim that right now. I just don't want that to be visible on the canvas from that point onward. I will add a second custom animation. This will also be position. And for easing I will set for both again. But I will select Expo this time. And again, I move the playhead over, and I will bring that line far to the left. Right here. One more custom animation, still position, and for easing I will use the same as for the first added animation, both in sign. And again, the playhead is right at the end, so let's move the line to the left side to exit the canvas. Let's see a preview. I will trim this element to fit the duration of its animations as well. And right here in this point I will need another text element. So, I will scroll down to this video element, and I will duplicate once. I will change its color to white. And I am typing Studio. I'll make sure it is centered, and bring it here where the playhead is. Next, I will need a mask for this last word, so, I will bring in a rectangle. I am bring it down here next to this text element. Let's make it bigger. I will change its color to black, and I need to make sure I have the video text element above this black mask I just added. Of course, now I need to add an animation for this big black rectangle. I'll set a scale property, and I will change the rotation point to the middle left. With my playhead at the end of the animation, I will unlock the scale properties. And for the X scale I will set 0. And, I believe I forgot to do the settings for easing. So it will be both an Expo again. On this video text element, in this point I will need a mask on it. So, I won't be able to do that, unless I trim this video text element. And I will create another one, to take over from this point on. And add a mask on the second one. So, I will bring in another rectangle. To create a mask. I will make this bigger to fit the text. And I will already change its rotation point, to the middle left. Next, let's give it a name, and I'll bring it down here next to that text element. Let's set the mask for the text element. And let's animate the mask now. I will add a custom animation. This will have a scale property. And with the playhead at the end of the animation, I will go to settings. I will unlock the scale values. And I will set the X scale value at 0. And again, let's not forget the easing. I'll set both an Expo. I am going to bring the right side of this shape mask of the video text element. Right here where the white line starts to go to the left. And you can see it starts great, but at the end the shapes are offset. The problem is here with this black mask rectangle. You can see on the right side it is aligned with the white line, but if I move the playhead here, notice that on the left side it is not where the white line is. So, I will need to move this to where the white line is. And now I bring this side here, to match the white line again. Now, you have to keep in mind that in order to have all the elements run in the same time and smoothly, I'm referring here at the white line, the black mask that covers the studio text element, and the mask I just added for video text element. You need to match all to run on the same length distance on the canvas. I will show you what I mean. You can see I have this line here, and it's animation that makes it go to the left over the text. If I scroll down, I have here the mask of the video text element, and you can see that its right side is exactly where the white line is. If I go further, I have the black mask here, and you can also see that its right side is exactly where the white line is as well. If I move the playhead here, right where the end of the second animation of the white line is, you can see that the white line, the shape mask of the video text element, and the black mask are all in the same place on the canvas. On this preview, you can see that everything it is running perfectly. To have my timeline more organized, I like to trim the time length of elements, so I will trim this video text element, just to fit the custom animation added to its mask. I will also trim this black mask rectangle, and to have things organized, let me just not forget to also trim the Vic text top and Vic text bottom like so. And, let me just not forget to also trim the Vic text top and Vic text bottom. And let me play it just one more time, to make sure I didn't cut anything I shouldn't have. Everything looks great. Next, I will position the playhead right here, where the white line will start its last move. And, scrolling down, I will select the studio text element, and I will add a custom animation. From this point, I want this word to stretch out a little bit, so I will set text spacing, and for easing, I will set both an expo. Let me place the playhead over to the right, and go to settings, and I will increase the letter spacing value to 300. Now, a little more visual effect is needed for this word, so I will add another custom animation. I will set shadow. And again, I move the playhead over. I set the easing for both an expo. And right here under advanced, I will go to shadow. And I will set a bright blue color. And I will bring the blur all the way up to 100. I will fully extend the timeline, and I will reduce the time duration of this custom animation of the shadow to only 3 fractions of a second. Then, I will duplicate reverse this animation, and I will repeat to duplicate reverse several more times. And, let's have a preview. Everything looks great. The only thing that this whole animation needs is the sound. So, I already have imported this futuristic logo indent from my computer that I have downloaded from Twinkle. And, I will just drag it here on the canvas. And I also have this glitch sound effect from Twinkle as well. To be able to see the waveform of the sound, you only need to expand the element here on the timeline. I will trim the duration of this glitch effect to fit the flashing shadow of the text, and I will go up here to settings, and I will set a 1-second fade out for this glitch sound effect. And let's have another preview with sound. And, we just completed to create this spectacular intro animation. If you had enough patience to follow this tutorial, and if you got this far, I really want to thank you enormously. This really helps supporting this channel. Thank you once again for watching. Please leave your thoughts or questions in the comments area below, and I'll be more than happy to answer you there. Until next time, have fun creating.